And it's my pleasure to be here with you today to talk about how to become more loving. And these words that I've chosen them on purpose. I didn't say how to be more loving or how to be love. To be, the word to be denotes a state that you're in. It's continuing unchanged through a period of time. We don't need any advice on how to be love. We're already love. We're doing that whether we like it or not. We're automatically love incarnate. And the word become, however, it denotes a change in state. Something's transforming. Something's moving and shaking. There's a shift. We're becoming. So to become more loving, to me, means to act in accordance with that which you are. We don't have to act like love. We have free will. We can choose. Our thoughts, our actions, our words can be something unlike our true nature, or we can choose to become more loving, to be and operate more in an alignment with our true nature, which is love. So that is what I would like to chat with you about today. And we're dancing with today's affirmation. An inexhaustible stream of divine love pours through me, blessing others and myself. I am a center of love. I'm the place where it shows up in this realm. So, what is love? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't. That goes through my head every time I hear that. But really, what is it? The English word love has over 18 different common meanings, not to mention the uncommon ones. And even those have their own interpretations. People color them with the context that they're in. It can be a noun, a verb, a modifier. It can be almost anything. We can be referring to something mundane, like, I love chocolate. But to me, I guess chocolate transcends the mundane. So we'll say, I love ramen noodles. Those are more plain than chocolate. We can be talking about something cosmic or divine when we're using the word love. There was a controversial stand-up comedian whom has since passed that would call humans vibrations in the mind of the one true God whose name is love. That man has some power behind his words. So love is powerful. It is indeed the greatest power. And I think we take it for granted. Love is the supreme coherent power that brings chaos to order. Think of the chaos that could ensue in this universe with all this matter and energy flying around, and yet we have order. And why? Because love. In the book The Field, the author Lynn McTaggart writes about experiments that were conducted by William Broad, who's a behaviorist and a PhD psychologist. And they did this experiment where they had two different people in separate rooms. And these people were not extraordinary in any way. They were not clairvoyant or psychic, identifying as any of those things. And they put them in these separate rooms, and they just said to them, see if you can feel each other's presence. And sure enough, after a period of time, these people were hooked up to EEGs, where they read your brain waves with the little stickers. After a period of time, their brain waves started to come into coherence with each other. They started to match. They harmonized with each other. With no special training, they were not specially meditating. They were just sitting there trying to feel each other's presence. And very interestingly, the person that had the most coherent brain waves, those were the closest to that vibration of love, order, that person influenced the other person's brain waves to join them rather than the converse. So that which was in chaos was brought to order by this coherence in this person. We have the power to bring chaos to order. No matter where we are, whether we're in separate rooms or the same room, separate countries, it doesn't matter. We have the power to bring chaos to order by bringing ourselves into coherence, into that state of love that is always accessible to us because it's pouring through us at all times. And that might be our most important work. Out of all the important things that we do here, the most important thing may be, how can I line up with that coherence? How can I be more harmonized with that love? There's another interesting study that I read about in a book called The Holographic Universe, which is one of my favorite books for tying together kind of abstract spiritual concepts and science and making it all make sense together. They did a study of people who'd had near-death experiences. And what people reported universally, no matter their belief system, their walk of life, who they were, every person came back with some message about love being the most important thing. And there was one little boy who had been in an accident, and there were two beings of light that the little boy described as just having very white robes, and he didn't really know how else to describe them. And these beings were ushering him through this experience, and they were showing him things and teaching him things. But the most important thing that he took away from that was that while we are here in these bodies, to be loving and to love is the most important thing. And we don't need to understand all the quantum theory and the science in these books to understand that love is powerful and it's important. It's creative, it's generative. It's the formless spirit that lives and breathes in and through all of us, through all things animate and inanimate. And for the purpose of keeping with the 12 unity powers, today we'll succinctly define love, after all that, as the ability to attract, desire, and unify. Can we see how that grand divine coherence could just unify everything? So the most powerful way to stay centered, no matter what, which is our theme for this year, is to bring ourselves into that coherence. So let's just be with that truth for just a moment. If you'd like to, you can place your hand over your heart or fold your hands over your heart. And just repeat after me the affirmation, I am a center of love. One more gentle inhale. I am a center of love. Once more, just to let them know you mean it. I am a center of love. And even after just these few repetitions, we can start to feel that coherence kicking in, our natural state. We start to feel that love, that ability to attract, to desire, to unify. It's magnetic. Love is also electric. When you really love what you're doing, you can just keep going. You seemingly have endless energy, much more than when you're cleaning the kitchen or bathroom or whatever you're doing. It's because you're charged with that love of what you're doing. Love is the supreme coagulant. Nothing brings us together and unifies us like love. And ironically, or perhaps not, love is also the supreme solvent. As nothing dissolves the barriers within us to truth the way that love can. So how can it be all these things? In Colossians 3:14, Paul said, and above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony, perfect order. And we're born with this capacity to love. We're conceived from love. Love is the very ground of being, the spiritual oneness that pervades everything in the universe. And so, if according to our affirmation, an inexhaustible stream of divine love pours through me, blessing myself and others, this is true, and it is, the most powerful, highly ordered, perfectly coherent energy that exists anywhere is pouring through us, as us, right here, right now, without ceasing. Just remembering that helps open my heart. I don't know about you. And interestingly enough, the confluence of this stream of love that comes to us, the stream of our life force, that which animates our body and keeps it alive, and all of the energy streams in our body, the big confluence of all those rivers is right here. It is our heart. It's not our head. The heart is the center of our being. When we say, who, me? If somebody says something or asks a question, you go, who, me? Do you point to your head? You feel how weird that feels? Who, me? You don't point to your wallet or your car or the house from which you left. You point here. We instinctively know, and that instinct being the wisdom of God living in the pit of the stomach, we instinctively know this is who we are. This is where we radiate from. We know this. So naturally, the human heart is very powerful if it's the seat of love. It generates an electromagnetic field, which is kind of orb-like in shape, and it has properties of magnetizing things to us, as well as radiating or broadcasting our personal vibe out into the world. So the heart helps us broadcast, radiate, and attract, and interestingly enough, the heart's electromagnetic field is 60 times greater in amplitude than the one that our brain generates. We can spend so much time living from our head, and that's not where our power is. It's a distraction. And and this is really cool, this field that your heart generates, you can be sitting 3 or 4 feet away from somebody, and if they put on an EKG or ECG, the device they use to measure our heart rate, that machine will pick up your heart field in that other person. You're not hooked up to the machine. It's not on you. How is that happening? There's a field of energy around us. We're all connected by energy, but your heart coherence can be heard and felt in another person's system that could be picked up by a medical device. Whew, goosebumps. And in the womb, the heart forms before the brain is even present to try to do anything. And when the brain dies, the heart will just keep going. As long as it has oxygen, it'll keep beating. The heart has its own neurons. It has 40,000 neurons. It's like a brain. It can feel emotions. It can remember things. And the heart sends more information to your brain than it does to your heart. So that misconception of the heart being controlled by our brains has been totally turned on its head. This is our power center. So, this magnetic property of love to attract and unify. When we're centered in our hearts, in coherence, we glow. Have you ever noticed a friend who's in love or something wonderful happened, or a puppy walks into the room and everybody just, nah! It's like that beautiful heart energy, it causes us to glow. It's a radiance. It helps you to step into appreciation for everything when you're centered in that place. And it also helps us to tap into our true and real desires, not cravings, but desires. We must first experience desire to manifest something. And true desires come from love. And God created everything because of what? The desire to do so, and great love. So when we connect with this desire in our heart, we connect with a longing that will dance us up and around the spiral, never ending, the spiral of the unfoldment of our life. It would be convenient if life was very linear and it went like this, or like this if you're climbing the corporate ladder. You go from one thing you wanted to the next, you're like, oh, I got it, sweet, I'm on to the next thing, but it's really not that. Our development unfolds in a spiral, and we start here, and speed bump. We get over it, we heal, and we celebrate, yay! We come back around, and all of a sudden we come back around the spiral, and there's an echo of that thing that we thought we fixed. I say, man, I thought I fixed my daddy issues already, but here they are in this relationship. What did I do wrong? And we start beating ourselves up. We lose our faith. We start thinking there's something wrong with us. But actually, there's nothing wrong. As we go around this spiral of life, these echoes are meant to be there. They're places that cause us to pause and say, okay, how can I be more loving to myself right now? At that earlier part in the spiral, there was a lot of love that came in and helped me to elevate to the next level. And now I'm hearing this echo, not because I did something wrong, or because I'm a thing that's broken and needs repair, or because I'm hopelessly lost. None of these things. These echoes are there just as a reminder that now that we're in this higher and more expansive place than we were here, we get to see that there's more love. The issue isn't exactly the same as it was the first time, is it? Oh, we've got more perspective. We've got more compassion for ourselves. It probably isn't as bad as it was the first time. So that thing comes back around again. I say, oh, this is lighter. There's more love radiating through this situation. And that garment of flesh and of illusion that we wear as we go around this spiral becomes threadbare, to where it's just this gossamer, gauzy thing after a while from all our travels. And more of that light, that love that we are, shines through, so that every time we see that echo, we don't have to dismay. It's just a part of our story, the little place where we get to pause and say, look how much more light is coming through me now than when I saw that thing the first time. So those echoes will only be frustrating to us if we think of them as, I'm broken and I need to be fixed, and I thought I already fixed myself and I didn't, and I did something wrong, and then we ruminate. Let's just remember that we're just taking that path around and letting that garment become very thin so we can see more light. We can forget the truth for a while, but it will eventually shine through, whether we like it or not. So let's put down our weapons when we see those echoes and just give ourselves a little more love. So it's natural through our journey also to become, in ways, fragmented. None of us are completely whole, as our stories take pieces of us and we kind of leave them behind in different places. And all we need to do to become more loving is not a fancy workshop. You don't have to spend money on some guru. There's no supplement you need to buy. All we have to do is just sit down and welcome these fragmented pieces of ourselves that we've seen along the spiral, and welcome them home to our hearts. Whatever it is, whether you're feeling ashamed of it, whether you're feeling afraid of it, that you think it shouldn't be there, it's not fair, all of those feelings are valid. And you're allowed to feel them, as long as there's still that moment where you can sit down and say, that fragmented piece is mine. That's my energy. That's my piece to reclaim and bring home to my heart. Because when you reclaim that energy, you become brighter. Think about it. If we've got pieces of ourselves fragmented out here and there that we don't like or we judge as wrong or bad, or maybe we shouldn't have this, we've got ourselves kind of spread out in a million different directions. And what happens when light is diffused like that? It's kind of dim, right? But what about the most focused light, like lasers? Lasers are powerful. We can do all kinds of things with lasers because all of the little photons in the light are all collected back in the center, and they're radiating powerfully from that one space. No photons were kicked out like, no, you're not purple enough. You get out of here. They're all a part of the same stream. There was a woman by the name of Anita Moorjani who was the author of Dying to Be Me. Has anybody heard of this book? Yes, beautiful story. And she says, I didn't truly understand the law of attraction until I died and learned that loving yourself for exactly who you are is the key. When you love and value yourself, you no longer have to watch your thoughts, right? There's a trend of watching your thoughts. It's good not to be overly negative, but if you love yourself, a little negative thought isn't going to stop you. So, how do we do this? How do we become more loving? How do we find these fragmented pieces? You know, you can aim love at other people all day long, but if you can't give it to yourself, you won't be broadcasting fully on that powerful, bright love state. We have static. And we can't love other people any more than we love ourselves anyway. So we might as well just go ahead and do it. So finding these fragmented pieces of ourselves, one really cool way to do it, I mean, there's lots of them out there. One of my favorites is projection. Has anybody heard of projection? Projecting? It's when there's something we haven't accepted about ourselves yet, but rather than accepting it, we see it in other people and then blame them for how bad we feel about that piece of ourselves. It's a neat trick, but it's really, our egos are clever. So I would say watching for projection is just one way you could this week try to become aware of pieces of yourself, of your psyche, that have kind of been thrown out there. You've got energy hanging out there that you can reclaim and bring it back to make yourself brighter. For example, if you see a trait in a particular person or a group of people, say you don't like someone who's lazy. Say, oh, that person's so lazy, they just never work, la, la, la. There could be a part of you that wishes that you would maybe not work so hard. Or there could be a part of you that likes being lazy and really likes all the juicy criticism and negativity you get from people when they criticize you for being lazy. There's so many little games our psyches can play with these things. They're just endless. You don't have to go down that rabbit hole if you don't want to. But what you can do this week is try to find that one trait that's kind of bugging you about other people. And look for the fragmented piece of yourself that is identified with that harmonizes with that, or is somehow related to that trait. And find a way to bring it home. And we're going to do just a little brief exercise with that right now, just in case you don't know how to invite pieces of yourself back. We'll just have a little brief, like 2 or 3 minute meditation where we'll all focus on a particular trait in a person that bugs us or a group of people that bug us. And just closing your eyes, thinking about this one trait. Just pick a specific trait. I know there's so many to choose from, but just the one that's kind of really on your mind. Just thinking about this person or people. And just drawing a few gentle breaths. Thinking of this trait. And as we're focused on this trait and focused within, we'll ask of ourselves, is there a part of me that has something to say about this person or this trait? Please speak to me now. And if it's not feeling chatty, you can ask it a question. You can ask it, what's your biggest secret? You can ask it, if there's one thing you wish I knew, what would that be? Or maybe if there's one thing you wish I would do for you, what would that be? And listening earnestly, listening with an open heart channel. This is a piece of yourself. And once this piece of yourself has spoken and let you know the answers or the message, let that piece of you know it is welcomed and loved. If you want to, you can repeat these words. I see you. I accept you. I truly love you. You're a part of me. I see you. I accept you. I truly love you. You are a part of me. So love is that ability to attract, to desire, to unify. An inexhaustible stream of divine love pours through me, blessing others and myself. You close out your meditation within yourself. You place your hands over your heart and say, I am a center of love. Let truth be spoken here and at all times. We can center ourselves in this love and watch our lives transform. As we begin to welcome all of the disowned and abandoned pieces of ourselves home to our hearts, we reclaim a tremendous amount of our power and our energy that has been spent suppressing or denying truth. So let's reclaim ourselves. Let's remember ourselves and live from our hearts. I welcome love, joy, success, health, wisdom, abundance, and harmony into my life right now. And I see every person here and on this earth being blessed with the same. And so it is. Thank you very much.